As it stands in 2022, NBA players are making more money than they ever have. Evidence of that is the mega deals stars like Bradley Beal and Nikola Jokic signed this offseason worth over $500 million between the two of them. It wasn't always like that. Players in the 50 seconds and 60 seconds had to get second jobs or retire early because basketball didn't pay enough. Players in the 70, 80, and 90 made a little more money, but it is nothing compared to the contracts being handed out in 2022. For example, Michael Jordan made an estimated $94 million in his playing career. A player like Golden State's Andrew Wiggins will make that in the third year of his current contract. See the issue? That is just one of the many reasons that so many former NBA players go bankrupt. In a 2009 report published by Sports Illustrated, it was estimated that 60% of NBA players will go broke within 5 years of retiring. That is a staggering percentage of former players. Bad contracts, off-the-court issues, or just bad financial decisions lie at the root of those numbers. This doesn't make any of the players on our list today less valuable as basketball players, and their place in NBA history is already cemented. It's just they got a little too careless with their earnings. 10 NBA players that have gone bankrupt. 10. Ray Williams. Career earnings, $2,500,000. Ray Williams spent 9 years in the NBA with 6 different franchises. He peaked as a 20.0 PPG, 5.0 RPG, and 6.0 APG with both the Knicks and Nets in the early 1980s. Although he was never an all-star, Williams was still a walking bucket at moments in his career. Almost immediately after his retirement in 1987, things fell apart for the former guard. Shortly after retirement, Williams fell on hard times and applied for his NBA pension. He was awarded a pension of $2 million, but it wouldn't last long. Williams would lose the money in a real estate scam and again be down on his luck financially. It wasn't long before Williams was taking up residence in a car parked in front of a friend's house in the Boston area. After the Boston Globe did a story on him in 2011, former Celtics teammates reached out to Williams to lend him a helping hand. Williams would get a job as a recreation specialist in Mount Vernon, New York. Sadly, Ray Williams passed away in 2013 as a result of colon cancer. He was 58. 9. Sidney Moncrief. Career earnings, $7,200,000. Now it is estimated that Moncrief earned more than $7.2 million in his 11-year NBA career. There just isn't any record of it. Moncrief was a 5-time NBA All-Star, most notably with the Milwaukee Bucks. He won the inaugural Defensive Player of the Year award and followed it up by winning it again the following season. He is the only guard in NBA history to win the award twice. He was one of the best two-way guards in the league during the 1980s. But what happened to all of that money? After retirement, Moncrief opened a car dealership in his home state of Arkansas as well as took a job with the Dallas Mavericks as an assistant. Although there are no specifics as to what happened, Moncrief filed for bankruptcy in 2005. His list of creditors includes numerous car dealerships, the Mavs, a bank, and even a local newspaper. It is said that Moncrief's money woes did not last long, as he later became an analyst for Fox Sports and a coach of the Fort Worth Flyers in the NBA G League. 8. Rick Mahorn. Career earnings, $8,517,000. It almost makes your stomach turn when you realize that Rick Mahorn made less in 18 seasons than some players today in his same role make in one season. Was Mahorn an all-star? No. Was he a vital piece to a championship run with the Detroit Pistons? Absolutely. Mahorn never really stuffed the stat sheet, but he was going to be your enforcer. He was going to give you a hard-fought 10 points and 8 or 9 rebounds every time he stepped on the floor. Unfortunately for Mahorn, he played in a time just before the salary cap went crazy. It took Mahorn 10 years to face any financial troubles, but when he did, it hit hard. Despite being a WNBA coach with a decent salary and having received his NBA pension, Mahorn filed for bankruptcy in 2009. This came as a result of defaulting on his mortgage, which in turn caused him to owe the IRS over $200,000. Just as Mahorn found himself in financial ruin, he worked himself out of it even quicker. He has since taken jobs as both a coach in rapper Ice Cube's Big 3 League and as a broadcaster with his former team, the Detroit Pistons. 7. Eric Strickland. Career earnings, $13,089,850. Eric Strickland played 9 seasons in the NBA with 6 different franchises. He peaked in the 1999-0 season with the Dallas Mavericks when he played 68 games and averaged 12.8 PPG and 4.8 RPG. When it was all said and done, Strickland was a 7.5 PPG and 3.0 RPG type of player who was out of the NBA by the time he was 32 years old. He still got good money from his playing days, earning over $13 million. It would mostly be gone soon at the hands of someone he thought he could trust. At an unknown point in time, Strickland was approached by a friend with what was seen as a can't-miss real estate deal. Even Strickland's father looked into it for his son. and it seemed like a legit and profitable opportunity. Strickland invested an unknown amount of money, seeking to flip the land for a high profit. It turns out that the person he thought was his friend had pulled one over on the Stricklands, as the property they had invested in wasn't worth even half of their expected return. It is unknown Strickland's financial status today, but this failed deal certainly didn't help things at all. 6. Randy Brown. Career earnings: $15,162,000. Randy Brown is an NBA journeyman most known for his days from 1995 to 2000 with the Chicago Bulls. Brown came off the bench for the majority of his career, never topping more than 9.0 ppg or 3.5 rpg. His game was centered around defense and putting pressure on opposing guards when the Bulls stars needed a breather. Nevertheless, the man won 3 rings with the Bulls during their second 90 seconds three-peat. He also spent time with the Celtics, Kings, and Suns, earning just over $15 million in his career. Randy Brown fell into the statistic of the 60% of former players who go broke within 5 years perfectly. After his career ended, he decided to become a businessman and throw himself into a bunch of restaurants and real estate deals. As another player who was led astray by people he called friends, Brown found himself in need of help and desperate. The Chicago Bulls came to the rescue, bringing Brown on as their director of player development. He was eventually promoted to be their assistant general manager. 5. Dan Issel. Career earnings: $18 million. Dan Issel is one of the greatest players in Denver Nuggets history. He is a basketball Hall of Famer, a 7-time NBA All-Star, and a 6-time All-NBA player. He averaged 20.7 ppg in his 10 seasons with the Nuggets, with whom he spent his entire career. He would even go on to become the team's head coach and an executive. Outside of basketball, Issel had other endeavors that would end up being his kryptonite. His work as a business owner didn't pan out, and by 2009 he filed for bankruptcy. It was reported that Issel owed more than $4.5 million to 34 different creditors, something that embarrassed him greatly. To get himself back into good standing, Issel had to auction off some of his prized possessions. These items were connected to precious memories Issel had from both the NBA and ABA. 4. Mookie Blaylock. Career earnings: $31,790,000. Before a man named Trae Young took the NBA by storm, Mookie Blaylock could be considered the greatest point guard in Atlanta Hawks history. Blaylock won back-to-back steals titles in 1997 and 1998 and earned the only All-Star berth of his career in 1994. In 7 seasons with the Hawks, Blaylock averaged 14.9 ppg, 4.6 rpg, 7.3 apg, and 2.6 spg. He is still the franchise's all-time leader in steals. Mookie was a sensation to watch play basketball, but everyone has demons. For much of the latter part of his career and life after retirement, Blaylock struggled with substance abuse and alcohol issues due to the disease he was suffering from. Most of his money was either consumed or spent trying to defend himself in court. In 2013, Blaylock caused a fatal car crash that took the life of a woman and nearly his own. The accident caused Blaylock to lose all that he had left financially and a sentence to jail for 15 years originally. The sentence was reduced to 3 years in jail and 8 years probation, which he still serves today. 3. Eric Williams. Career earnings: $39,835,520. Eric Williams enjoyed a lucrative 12-year NBA career compared to his counterparts before him on this list. The first few seasons of his career looked pretty promising. He averaged 15.0 ppg and 4.6 rpg in his second season with the Boston Celtics. He got injured in his third season and never appeared to be the same player again. You might remember him from his one season alongside some rookie named LeBron James, just 10 years after his NBA career ended. However, Williams was homeless and falling behind on some serious bills. While homeless, Williams was dealt another blow when he was served with a citation claiming he was over $24,000 behind in child support payment. Since he has fallen on hard times, Williams has seemed to have bounced back somewhat and gotten himself out of debt. 2. Clifford Robinson. Career earnings: $60,213,771. Uncle Cliffy, as Clifford Robinson was known, played a pivotal role in the early 1990s Portland Trail Blazers. The 610 forward was an efficient scorer for the Blazers, stringing together 4 straight seasons of 19.0 ppg and 5.5 rpg from 1993 through 1996. He earned the only All-Star honors of his career in 1994. He was also named the NBA's 6th Man of the Year in 1993. In 8 seasons with Portland, he averaged over 16.0 ppg and 5.0 rpg. He wouldn't retire from the game until he was 40 years old. Just 2 seasons after his retirement and earning over $60 million in his career, Robinson declared bankruptcy. The claim stated that his assets were worth $7.1 million while his bills had piled up to $12.40. If you do the math, you'd know he was over $5 million in debt. Fortunately for Robinson, he was able to dig himself out of the hole after finding success with a lucrative marijuana business in Portland, where he spent his best playing days. Unfortunately, Robinson passed away in 2020 after a battle with lymphoma. 1. Joe Smith. Career earnings: $61,220,796. Joe Smith played 16 years in the NBA for 12 different franchises. Not something you'd exactly expect from the first overall pick in any NBA draft. It is his draft spot and longevity that are easily why his career earnings topped the $60 million mark. He was another player who had a promising start to his career, averaging 17.0 ppg over his first 2.5 seasons with the Golden State Warriors. He also enjoyed a few more productive seasons in Minnesota and Philadelphia. Believe it or not, it is also his travel from home to home that ultimately did him in financially. According to Smith, he bought a new home in every state in which he played, and by 2018 he was flat out broke. Fortunately for Smith, MLB's Alex Rodriguez was there for him. Rodriguez set Smith up with financial stability through a reality TV show he was doing at the time. Rod set Smith up with a financial advisor who helped Smith get back on his feet and overcome his debt.